Hey everyone, and welcome back. So I'm finally doing that movie pickups that I talked about doing several weeks ago, but I ended up doing much more just like a quick kind of collectibles pickup, and I was like, hey, let me hold off on the movies for another one. Then obviously the weeks went by and I never got to it, so I decided to finally get to it, and I was going through everything I wanted to include in the video, and then I started thinking, I haven't done like a movie pickups in months, which is so weird because I used to do them like at least once every like couple weeks. But I started kind of going through titles and I was like, I never talked about this, have I? And so before this thing grew and grew and grew, I decided actually just to quickly mainly just pick out a couple of ones. I'm probably not going to go super in depth. I know sometimes I like to, especially some of the box sets and stuff, I like to kind of pull everything out and everything. Like I'll do that a little bit, but not like super in depth, but I will share some quick thoughts on each one. So it's been long enough, so let's dive right in. So first up, I'm going to do actually a couple of studio ones. Just kind of go through them. So first up, which is definitely one I was happy to finally get, was definitely Oppenheimer, the 4K release. This is obviously the standard release. I was actually holding out for the Best Buy Steelbook, hoping that it would restock, so I kept like checking it constantly, but I never pre-ordered even a standard release, which is sometimes what I'll do just as a backup if I can't order like an exclusive right away. And I didn't do that, and of course this thing was sold out like everywhere, and then finally was able to get one. Amazon finally restocked. And just real quick, there's obviously the cover with, I believe that was what the one sheet looked like, and then just the back. I haven't actually watched this. I mean, I watched the movie in theaters, but I haven't actually watched this release. From this recording, hopefully from when I'm posting this, this literally just came in yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to actually watch it, but I've heard it is a fantastic release. And it was nice to see Christopher Nolan kind of come out and sort of push for the physical media release of this, and for physical media in general. So like that was really good. And the fact that it's sold out everywhere, I think, it's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, physical media might become a little bit more of a niche market, but it's still a big niche market. All right, so moving on to the next one, which came out a while ago, but obviously it's a last Mission Impossible film, Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm a huge fan of the Mission Impossible film, so I was really, I saw it in theaters and obviously was really happy to get it on disc, and it looks, it sounds fantastic, as you would expect, a nice big summer blockbuster. Kind of sorry it didn't do better, and I am kind of bummed that the second half isn't going to release, originally it was going to come out in 2024, and now it's not even slated till 2025, and it's like, oh man, I don't want to wait that long to see what happens next. But anyway, happy to have that on disc. Next up, and I think this is a Best Buy exclusive. I could be wrong about that, but it is a Steelbook version of the 4K release of American Graffiti, the George Lucas film. And actually, let me take that part off. And actually, it's a nice Steelbook. See right there, there's the cover right there with a bunch of the characters. And there's the back with the title. And then finally, just the back right there with Mel's Drive-In. Very simple. And there's the discs inside. I do like, let me take the discs out real quick, because actually the inside is really nice on this. Sort of a nice kind of collage, images and stuff from the film, which I hope you can see right there. Actually a pretty nice, well done Steelbook. I kind of wish it was the one sheet, but actually I kind of like that. That's not bad. And happy to finally have American Graffiti in 4K. Still waiting on the 4K for THX 1138, which I do hope we get eventually. And then next up, the last studio one, I think, unless I'm sure I have more that I don't know, but this one I just got in actually yesterday as well, and that is the recent 4K release of The Fugitive. And this is obviously the standard release, and there's the front right there. And the back with the details. I mean, it hasn't been out that long, but I've been meaning to get this. Actually, but what put me over was just recently I rewatched Code of Silence, which is the Chuck Norris film directed by Andrew Davis, who would eventually go on to do The Fugitive. And Andrew Davis is from Chicago, and Code of Silence takes place in Chicago. And because he's from Chicago, he knows how to film Chicago, so it's kind of cool seeing a bunch of, places from there, and that really made me think like, okay, I really want to rewatch The Fugitive because I haven't watched it in so long, and get my fill of some of my old Chicago, or just get a look of Chicago. I do miss Chicago. I don't miss the weather, but I do miss my old hometown. And I would say that also The Fugitive holds up really well. I rewatched it last night, in fact. So speaking of Harrison Ford, now we're going to move on to, what do I have, 2 Arrow titles here. First one is their 4K release of Witness. This is obviously the limited release version. I think it'll be a standard release down the line. So it has the outer box right there with the original one sheet poster artwork on it. And very simple, just the side with the title, and then the back with the details. Oh, actually, this is a slip. So nope, there's nothing on the back. So yeah, there's that. And much like all their other releases, obviously it comes with, you know, the inside just mimics that. And again, details on the back. A couple of actually nice picture postcards, and there's the 4K disc. Now the 4K version doesn't come with a Blu-ray, but nice thing, obviously all the extras are included on the 4K disc. It also comes with one of their amazing booklets that are just like, you know, like a mini book basically, and then a poster that has the one sheet artwork, as well as I think they have sort of like new artwork that they did on their own, and then the one sheet artwork on the reverse. And I have to say, it's a really nice edition of the film. And just like The Fugitive, you know, I hadn't seen Witness in a really, really long time. So when this came in, I think it was the end of October, beginning of November, somewhere around there. It was nice to rewatch it because it had been so long. And again, it holds up so well. It's one of those films that I kind of feel like you almost forget how good it is until you actually sit down and watch it. Next up, another Arrow release, which I was actually originally going to hold off for maybe a sale or something. I actually kind of forgot I had it on order, and then it shipped. Actually paid probably more for it than I kind of wish I did, but it is indeed the, whoa, and it slipped out. Okay, it's the 4K release of Michael Mann's Black Hat. There's the rest of it. It sort of slipped out of the slipcover. Luckily, I'm sitting on a very soft chair. And there's a 4K disc. The 4K disc does have the US theatrical cut as well as the international theatrical cut. There's only, I think, a couple seconds different. Really not much. And then here's a Blu-ray that does have the director's cut on it. And of course, the director's cut is the one I think was shown theatrically, like at a film festival or a private or special screening or something. And then I think it's shown on TV a couple times. I haven't actually watched the director's cut yet, so I haven't had this that long. I did watch the regular theatrical version and everything. And again, it's a nice. I always kind of thought this was a bit of an underrated Michael Mann film. Obviously, not one of his best, but I still think it's a really, really good film. A nice release. Happy to have it. Wish I paid a little less for it, but that's fine. And again, once I actually sit down and watch the longer cut. Or actually, it's not a longer cut. I think it might even be shorter. I don't know. It's like the alternate cut, which I think mainly just has scenes in different places and stuff, you know. So for those of you wondering, I'll share my thoughts on that. Okay, so moving right along. Actually, I'm gonna do the Criterion stuff that I got. When did I get these? Was this October when they had their flash sale? I'm gonna go through these very, very quick. So first up is the 4K release of Martin Scorsese's After Hours. Which I'm happy to get. And I watched it, and yeah, it's a nice release. You know, it's kind of one of those where, you know, it's obvious that, you know, Scorsese was trying his hand at a dark comedy and stuff. And I think for the most part, it works. You know, it's like there are a couple bits that are kind of odd, you know, but I think for the most part, After Hours definitely still works. Next up is the 4K release of One False Move. As some of you may remember, even from when this was announced, I was looking forward to getting it. Unfortunately, I haven't actually been able to watch it yet. It's one of those films I definitely want to make sure, like, I clear an evening and just kind of watch it, you know, just sit down and really, really kind of take it in, because it also has been a while. Next up is the Blu-ray release of Targets, the film starring Boris Karloff, Peter Bogdanovich? Yeah, Peter Bogdanovich's film. It's a low-budget film from, what year was this? 1968? I think that says. I can't see. I don't have my reading glasses on. But basically, it's a low-budget film. It sort of has to do with a sniper who's, well, taking people out, and then Boris Karloff actually plays sort of a version of himself, sort of an aging horror star who is thinking about back on his career, and he's going to, I think, a screening of one of his films or something, and then the sniper shows. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a really, really good film. So definitely one I would recommend. And then finally, it's the Todd Browning, what do they call it? The Sideshow Shockers box set, which comes obviously with Freaks being the main one, and then also with The Unknown and The Mystic. Nice triple feature set, and it does come with nice little booklet, and this is a Blu-ray set. So Freaks is its own disc, and then The Unknown and The Mystic are a second separate disc. And actually, the Mystic, I don't think I've seen. I've seen The Unknown a couple times, and obviously Freaks I've seen like countless of times. So happy that they put this out, and happy I was able to pick it up. Okay, moving right along. Try and move along a little bit at a quicker pace if I can. So first up, I did get a couple of Scream Factory titles. Some of these were from one of their sales, and then some of these were just pre-orders. I feel like I'm forgetting some now. I think there are more, but anyway, just for right now, I did finally get the Blu-ray release of Dr. Giggles, which I'm happy to get. And actually, I haven't seen this in quite a while, so looking forward to revisiting that. Haven't had a chance yet. I did finally get the 4K release of the Dawn of the Dead remake, which was one that I kept kind of holding off, and then it was on one of their sales. I forget which sale it was. It was one of the more recent sales. And then the pre-order of the Blob remake did come in recently, and I did watch it, and it looks really, really good. I know some people kind of said how they wish it was, I think because it's not in Dolby Vision, I think it's HDR only. But because this is a Sony title, and I'm pretty sure when in regards to Sony titles and I think Paramount titles that Scream Factory puts out, or any third party puts out, I think pretty much for the most part, I don't know if this is necessarily like every single title, but I think for the most part, Scream Factory doesn't do the transfers or anything. They're given them from Sony and Paramount. So it's whatever. So I think in the case of the Blob, I think it's whatever Sony gave them. I think that's why there probably isn't a Dolby Vision thing. But I mean, I still thought it looks great. Yeah, definitely worth picking up if you haven't yet. And then next up, oh God, I know I have more. I don't know. I have to do another pickups video at some point, but I did also get the new 4K release of Silver Bullet, which I'm really, really happy to get. Now, this one I actually had recorded a review on, so I either posted it right before this video or I will be posting it right after. So keep an eye out for that. It's the only one I actually did an official review on. It was kind of a short review, but yeah, keep an eye out for that. Oh, actually, for the Blob, I haven't even taken it out of the plastic yet, but actually this, because I did order it from them, it did come with this alternate slipcover with that artwork, which I think that is some awesome artwork. So just wanted to kind of show that real quick. And next up, I just got in as well the 4K release of the Monster Squad from Kino. So I just kind of show that because it does have new artwork that does emulate the original poster artwork right there. And then there's the back with the details. And then the inside, which you do have the option. I actually did flip it to feature the original one sheet. And this is definitely one I want to watch and review. This literally just came in, so I've not actually had a chance to watch it yet. I definitely want to. Next up from Severin, which I mentioned briefly, is the Zombie Holocaust, aka Dr. Butcher MD. This is the newer 4K release. So the slipcover, just so you can see, obviously has the Zombie Holocaust, which is the original Italian title for it on one side, and then the Dr. Butcher MD, which was the US alternate title on the other. And what I love is on the inside, which I'm about to show you, is that they did a mock-up of what the original VHS looks like on the cover, which I did use. So you can see that right there. That looks like the original VHS cover, which is so awesome. And then just the side with the title. And then there's the back. And if I remember correctly, I think that's also what the back of the VHS looked like as well. And then the flip side just has the Zombie Holocaust version. And it does come with a barf bag, which is like so fun. I think the Blu-ray did from a couple years ago as well. So but I am glad that they did include it. There, indeed, a Dr. Butcher empty barf bag. And what's cool about this release, so it has 4K release of the Dr. Butcher MD cut, which it's basically the same film, but it has a couple of extra scenes from a Roy Frumkus film that actually never got finished, that they sort of tacked onto this for the US release. So there's the Dr. Butcher cut, and then it's the 4K release of the original Italian Zombie Holocaust cut, and then just a Blu-ray of Dr. Butcher, which I think most of the extras are also on here as well as a Blu-ray of the Zombie Holocaust cut with, again, more extras on it. And this is a really, really nice release. Now, I will say one thing about the transfer on this, which is not anything Severin did wrong. It's just a matter of the original elements, that it does look like that the first third of the film, maybe not that much, but almost the first third of the film, it's pretty obvious that it comes from a print. And then it switches to because I think for the sake of the transfer, I can't remember. I think a new transfer, a 4K transfer from the best original elements. So it's like obviously Severin can only work with what they're given. I don't think the original camera negative was used for this, if it even exists anymore. So it's possible. I think it's a mixture of a print. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. A print, maybe an inner negative or an inner positive. And then for the rest of it. So I think for maybe about a third of the film, it's very obvious. It's a print. It's going to have it's very rough around the edges. But then when it switches to whatever that other element is, it definitely looks so good. It looks so much better. And then it switches back to the print only for like a couple minutes, very quick. And then the rest of the film is also from, again, inner negative, inner positive, whatever the other element was. So just going into it, just have a heads up on that as far as the transfer goes. But overall, for what they had to work with, I think this is actually a really nice release. I love that it does have both cuts of the film. And again, it ports over all the extras from before and everything. It's just really great release. Really happy I have it. Okay, we're not done yet. Got 3 things left, 3 box sets actually. And again, I'm going to go through these very quickly. First up is from Troma is the Toxic Avenger 4K set, which has the Toxic Avenger Part 2, Toxic Avenger Part 3, and Citizen Toxic Avenger Part 4, which you can see just has this outer box, which is very simple, kind of basic cardboard. But it is nice, there's the titles on the back, and actually the titles themselves are a bit, embossed. And, it does come with this nice little postcard on the inside. You can see, what is it? It's, because it's Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz, right? Yeah, which you can see right then. We loved you then, and then on the flip side, we love you now more than ever. So a nice little thing for fans. And what I nice is that each one does use the original one-sheet artwork. So here's the original Toxic Avenger right here with the original one sheet, or one of the original one sheets anyway. And there is the back. And then part 2, which you can see right there. There's the front. And there's the back. And next, there's part 3 right there. There's the front and the back. And then finally, there is Citizen Toxie. There's the front right there and also the back. And each one obviously is a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. The 4K disc it does have commentaries, but doesn't have any other extras on it. And for those of you who don't know, if I remember correctly, Vinegar Syndrome did the transfers on these, but it is a Troma release, and it does port over, as far as I can tell, all of the extras that existed on every other release of these films before, even going back to like DVD and everything. So I mean, there's a ton of extras on these things, and honestly, the transfers are really good. They're not like super cleaned up. There's still some like specks and dirt and stuff here and there, but overall, like they look really good, and especially the first film, because I love the first film so much, and to actually watch it in 4K is amazing. So definitely a set I recommend, and I'm almost positive too that at some point we're going to get just single releases of these outside of the box set. And then the next 2 are Arrow box sets. I wanted to end on these. So first up is the more recent Hellraiser box set, which has Hellraiser 1 through 4. So obviously Hellraiser, Hellbound, Hellraiser 3, and then Hellraiser Bloodline. And this set is amazing. So first off, look at this thing. This doesn't have the discs in it, and we get to that in a second. This is a book. Look at this. Book. Look at that. This thing is massive. Like, again, and hardcover book. This is the kind of thing, like, I swear, Arrow just goes all out with these things. And then finally, this is the thing that houses the discs, which you can see, there's the front right there, and there's the back of that. And this actually slides off, and then you got this nice skeleton there with all the blood right there. And just real quick, there are the discs. I probably shouldn't look, because I'm going to want to straighten them out. But you can see just words there. This is an amazing set. When this actually came in, I think that whole week I went through all of them. Now this is a UK release, so for those of you in the States, you will have to import it. But obviously, nice thing, 4K, region free. Each film looks amazing, better than I ever thought they could, especially 2, because I think Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, it's always been a little rough on previous releases, and it looks about as good as I think it could ever get. And this is a fantastic set. I mean, if you're a fan of any of these films, I cannot recommend this set enough. So again, Hellraiser set, what's it called? The Quartet of Torment. Fantastic set. And then finally, one more Arrow box set that I've had for a while. I was actually planning to do a review on it and never got around to it. So this is sort of a review, and that is indeed the UK release of the Psycho films in 4K, Psycho, Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and Psycho 4. And this is the outer box, which you can see right there. Very, very simple, but it's nice. And there's a side with the titles, and then there's the other side, the discs themselves, which I'll pull out in a second, and then just the back. I think this actually just slides off, actually. So there's a front without the outer thing. And actually there's a back, which is probably better. You can see the house better. And what I like is this one obviously houses each one separately, which is nice. And just like the other, while not a hardcover, look at this thing. Look at book. This is a book on all 4 films. Good Lord, these things are just incredible. And then finally, each one, which you do have here. So each one does come with a couple of cards with a couple of images, as well as a sort of mini poster. They have the one sheet as well as the new artwork on these. Now the new artwork is very, very simple kind of thing, but I do love that you do get the option, which obviously I did, is to flip it to the original one sheet artwork, which I'll showcase on each one. There's that right there. And on the back, there's just details. So main thing is there's one. Obviously there is Psycho 2 right there, and Psycho 3 right there. And then finally the release of Psycho 4, the beginning. And this is a fantastic release. If you can get this release, I cannot recommend this enough. I mean, first off, it's got a bunch of extras. This is obviously the 4K disc, 4K set, and all the extras are on each of the 4K discs. So if you're outside of the UK, you don't have to worry about region issues about accessing any of the extras. I do like that each one is actually in its own case, and the transfers on these are just fantastic. I think the first Psycho does use the existing 4K release that has been out from Universal, but then 2, 3, and 4 do have new 4K transfers, and they look and sound so good. I mean, if you're a fan of these films at all, I highly recommend. This is easily one of my favorite releases of this year, which I am going to be doing a list in a couple weeks of my favorite releases from this year, and this is definitely going to be on it because it is amazing. I'm sure at some point Arrow will release these individual, I assume anyway, at least the sequels. I don't know if they can release necessarily the first one because that is available for Universal. But at the very least, I assume the sequels. But if you can get this box set, I seriously cannot recommend it enough. So I think that's basically it. I know for a fact that there are more movies that came in that I know I haven't showcased or talked about or anything. So I may, kind of go through more and just try and do another pickups video. Because actually, I don't think I have too much more coming in for the rest of this month. So I think, that's kind of wrapping things up a little bit. Actually, I take it back. I think my Vinegar Syndrome stuff has shipped. So I should be getting that soon. But other than that, I don't think there's actually anything else. So, yeah, that's it for this pickups video. I'm sorry that I know it's a mishmash of different things. I know I sort of jumped around. If you have any questions about any of these, especially about any of the transfers or anything like that, definitely let me know. And if you picked up any of these, definitely let me know what you think of them. And also let me know if you picked up anything recently as well. Always love knowing what you guys get. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.